Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your spooky host, the Lost Chevalier, and you're welcome to the elevator game with Catgirls. Let's play the game, shall we? Look at the menu, it's such a good... it looks so good. Let's go. It's a cold winter night. The snow started to fall a couple of hours ago, so the cityscape is littered with a layer of white fluff. It crunches under our feet as we walk down the street. Ta-da! We're here! That's a building. I look up to inspect the tall building before us. It's past midnight, so it's to be expected that most people living here should be asleep by now. Naturally, that also explains why barely any of the windows show illumination coming from the inside. Considering what we are here for, it only adds to the creepiness of the situation. I have never been a fan of dark places. That didn't change even when I got my feline features. You'd think that being able to see so much more clearly in the dark will make darkness less scary, wouldn't you? Trouble is, I hear so many more little sounds that I couldn't make out before, too. And since I'm not sure that all of them are... what all of them are, the darks bear every bit as creepy as it was before. Maybe even more so. So we are. Finally, a response! I thought you were starting to give me the silent treatment again. It's a fault of mine, and one I'm not too proud of. I tend to get lost in my own head sometimes. Well, quite often really. Thankfully, Kirin is fairly used to it by now. I swear, Kirin, of all the buildings in the city, you just have to choose one which is super creepy. This has to be the sole residential building in the whole office district. Oh, but you know it couldn't have just been any building. This one is perfect. And by perfect you mean? Meeting the conditions and being less than 10 miles away from our homes. Meeting the condition and being less than 10 miles away from home? Or are you enjoying our walk in the snow together so much that you'd like to prowl around aimlessly for another hour? Because I don't know about you, but I'm really starting to feel the cold. Was that your plan? For me to need you to warm me up afterwards? You could have said something, Asahi. I just stare at her, not really sure what to say. There is no winning with Kirin when she gets all sly like this. As much as I hate to admit it, it's one of the things I actually like about her. Why did I sign up for this again? Because you love me. Ah yes, thank you for reminding me of the questionable fact. Say, do you get the feeling like someone is manipulating someone else for their advantage over here? No? Just me? Oh, come on, don't be like that. You know I'm happy you decide to come with me. I will make it up for you, I promise. I stare at her for a moment longer before I sigh. I really can't argue with her, not when she's looking at me like that. I had a silent crush on this girl for the longest time and never expected to one day find out that the attraction was mutual. The fact that we managed to actually get together still feels so unreal sometimes. If it weren't for the fact that the change affect her too, it wouldn't have never come to this. As much as I disliked it in the beginning, it made me feel like an outcast among my former peers. After all, our shared experience allowed me to be there for her when she needed the most. It's a memory I'm always going to cherish, of that I am sure. I breathed warmly on my hands, rubbed them together, and then jammed them deep in my pockets. It's not much, but hopefully it will keep some feeling in my fingertips. It's enough to let me focus on things in the here and now, at least, rather than just on how cold it is. I said it before and I will say it again. You get provoked way too easily. You are doing all of this because of the bet with Morgan, aren't you? Oh, sure, that's one of the reasons. But that's not the only one. I'm doing it because it's fun. Fun? Kieran, you have seen the forums. Not a single person out there ever said it was a good idea. Ah yes, all those fairy tale stories. Quite tragic, really. Come on, you're not about to tell me you honestly believe those. So you mean that you don't? Seriously, girl, we live in the real world. Spooky, scary skeletons don't just pop out of nowhere because someone decided to be an idiot and press some buttons a certain way. I can't believe you all of the people are still saying that strange unexplainable things don't happen. I mean, you did look in the mirror this morning, right? This is this, and that is that. So you don't believe this will actually work? Remind me why we're here again. We are here to prove a point, namely that Morgan can suck it. I honestly can't believe I let you drag me into this. Chill, Asahi. We suffered the cold for a while longer, nothing happens, and then Morgan owes me $50. $50 that will treat us to a nice dinner together. I suppose a dinner with you is a pretty good incentive. Oh, that's so cute. See, I know you to come around. That being said, wish me luck and all that jazz. I will be right back. Kidding? What? I'm the one who should be getting cold feet here, not you. Just... you remember all the rules, right? Stay safe, okay? Asa-chan, be realistic about this. What's an elevator gonna do? Bite me? You could always get stuck. That's a realistic possibility, if anything. I'm sure you will figure it out if I do. Now be sure to stay away from the building, since we do be breaking those majestic rules otherwise. Right. See you in a bit. Don't do it. I stare as Kirin approaches the building entrance, press one of the intercom buttons, and moments later push the door open. How does she convince people to trust her so quickly, to let her into the building like that? She's gone from my side before I know it. A faint clicks as the door closes behind her. There is a feeling of unease pulling in my stomach. All of this being the bad idea, probably the worst we have ever had yet, just screams in my head. I'm so going to give Morgan a piece of my own mind once all of this is over. It's not like I can really do much about it now, however. If I were to go after my girlfriend, saying I have suddenly changed my mind, it will undoubtedly make her angry. Well, we snuck out of our houses through the window without our parents knowing, just to go through with all of this. If I had a problem with this whole crazy idea, I should have said something way earlier. It's too late now. And she's dead. Completely dead. I run my fingers around my phone and pull it from my pocket. As I do, I see the screen shows 00:30 AM. It took us around an hour to walk here, and while I dreaded us even being here in the first place, I'm also not looking forward to walk all the way back, especially when it's bound to get colder as the night goes on. Perhaps we could use those $50 to get a ride home instead of a meal. Yeah, if things only work that way. With another sigh, I turn away and start to walk towards a small park located in the middle of this god-forsaken district. I don't know why part of it is a playground. There can't be many kids here in the day, can there? But it is, and there is a slide as well as a pair of swings. It's most likely freeze my ass off if I sit on one, though that would let me lift my feet off the ground for a bit. The cold, snowy ground. I decide to sit down on the nearest one. And just like that, the uneasy feeling of having entered a liminal space hits me, making the hairs of my back of my neck stand up. One's mind usually associates playgrounds with children, laughter, movement and life in general. It's what they're designed for after all. So when you get to experience the total opposite of that, when you find yourself sitting in an empty, childless playground in the middle of the night, it doesn't feel right. Your mind associates with something being off, something being wrong. Why are you here, Asahi? In a place you shouldn't be. Absent-mindedly, my gaze wanders. Something at the other side of the street catches my attention. It's a vending machine. I happen to have a bit of change with me, and the idea of getting something hot to drink is suddenly a very alluring temptation. It will undoubtedly make the waiting out in this cold less unpleasant. Please say it's a machine that has hot drinks as well as cold ones. Only 1 minute has passed. With my mind made up, I get back to my feet, checking the time more out of a habit than actually curiosity again. 4 a.m. Only a minute passed since Kirin disappeared into the building, and I'm both surprised and not really. The feeling of time passing slower than usual is normal when you obsessively wait for something, even more so when said waiting is physically uncomfortable. I make my way towards the vending machine without a second thought. To my relief, its glowing bottles do indeed hold a promise of a hot drink. I decide to get chocolate. I'm usually more of a coffee person, but I'm in the mood for something sweet. My mind will most likely appreciate the sugar rush right now too. It definitely doesn't have anything to do with the fact that this is Kirin's favorite drink. Yeah, it's about time I acknowledge the fact that I have started to consume more sweet stuff because of her. Even though she say I'm sweet enough as I am. It's only when there is a clunk of coins in the change slot that I realize the cocoa is a bit cheaper than the coffee, meaning that I will be able to get a can for Kirin when she comes out too. That's a nice surprise. As I work and open the bottle, I realize how warm and heavily it feels in my hands. I rub my hands around it, enjoying a few moments of bliss as the heat warms my fingers. I take a small sip, instantly happy with the taste. Being able to drink anything warm feels like a godsend right now. Satisfied, at least momentarily, I make my way back to the playground, intending to sit back at the spot I took up before. I reach the swing and settle back down, as I glance up again at the building Kirin is sleeping 2 minutes ago. My blood suddenly runs cold. A sense of sudden panic swarms my mind as I try to make sense of what I'm seeing. A building that's dead to the world, all pitch black, with none of its light shining through the windows anymore. Could all the residents have gone to sleep in the meantime? That's close to impossible, and I know it. A power outage, maybe? I quickly turn around and look at the other buildings around me. All of those seems the same as when we arrived, with a bright window still present here and there, so surely that can't be it. If the power was cut off, it would affect the whole street, wouldn't it? Or even several streets. Almost spilling my drink, I hastily reach for the phone in my pocket. Huh? I blink, then close my eyes shut for a moment, certain that something's wrong with my eyesight. The time couldn't have just gone backwards? A small sense of relief floods me as quickly I open my eyes again. It must have been a trick of the light before, or perhaps there was a glitch with my phone display. Perhaps there is something wrong with me. Remembering what made me reach for my phone in the first place, I raise my head to look at the building before me once more, only to see it in its previous state. The lights are back on as if they were never gone to begin with. The unease in my stomach says, though, I know what I saw. I'm pretty sure I couldn't have just imagined it. It's been 5 minutes since Kirin went into the building. Is that enough to ride through a bunch of floors? Will she be mad if I called her so soon? Dwelling on it suddenly feels stupid. I open up the calls app on my phone, and there is her name at the top of the history. She called me just a couple of hours ago to confirm our plans for tonight. Admittedly, her name is also there for the call before that, and the one before, and... Okay, I chat to her a lot. No one more calls now can't hurt. One more call now can't hurt, right? I hit the redial button. I should have expected the call wouldn't connect if she's still inside the elevator. There probably isn't any reception in there, is there? So what's the point does that leave me with? Going in after her? Waiting for another 5 minutes? I stare at the building before me intently, afraid to avert my eyes anymore. It's like I'm hopeful my gaze, my constant observation, alone will make the light stay. I am scared of the situation repeating itself. Sometime later, I realize that I have spent so long just holding my can and fretting about Kirin that my drink has gone from a nice hot drink to, well, undrinkable. Some drinks are not meant to be just kind of warm, and this is one of them. At least it kept my hands from freezing, I guess. 10 minutes pass, I feel only more cold and helpless. Why can't Kirin just come out of the building now as if nothing has happened, and laugh at me for worrying too much? I call her again for good measure. Surprisingly, the call does go through this time. Hello? Hello? Kirin? I'm not prepared for what I hear. A woman laughing at the other end. There is something about it that disturbs me to the very core. It's definitely not Kirin's voice. Or is it? All of a sudden, realization hits me. Morgan, the bed, everything, now this, none of it could possibly be real. All of this has to be the prank arranged by my classmates. And whether Kirin is on it, she wouldn't do this to me, would she? The image of her weakling, smiling, amused face persistently pops up in my mind again. Confusion turns into anger. Before I know it, I'm on my feet, already marching to the building, determination boiling inside of me. There is an obstacle before I can get in, though, as I obviously don't have a key to the entrance door. What kind of excuse could be plausible at this sort of hour? I stab to the button that I think you're impressed, and then almost immediately regret it. What if I press the wrong button? What if I press the right one and sound stupid when the other person asks who is there? What if... To my surprise, there is a click from the intercom, and then a buzz as I'm let in without a single word being spoken. Huh? So Green didn't have to sweet talk anyone? So Green didn't have to sweet talk anyone. I try not to dwell on the unexpected invitation as I shrug it all off on luck. As soon as the door closed behind me, it occurs to me just how dark the inside of this building is. I know it's the middle of the night, but I'm not sure whether such a complete lack of light is normal. People live here, after all. There should be some signs of life. Buildings usually have at least a few lights on inside, don't they? It's unsettling, although it doesn't make me as nervous as it used to. I know that my vision is going to adjust to the darkness in a moment, letting me navigate the place easily. I am able to see a lot better in the dark compared to so when I'm still completely human, but it doesn't work instantly. And the lights are on. As I take a first few hesitant steps into the building, the lights flicker on with a harsh buzz. Of course, I'm being such an idiot. There are automatic lights in there. They come on when people move, totally ordinary. It's just that I have never been in this building before. It stands to reason that it feels unusually creepy to me, right? Especially if I think about it why I'm currently here. The elevator. All that considered, it feels longer for me to reach the end of the long hallway that I probably should. It's a dangerous time to let your mind wander into places nobody sane will want to wander to. At least the building inside is noticeably warmer than the outdoors. It makes the whole situation slightly easier to bear. My hands and feet almost starting to freeze off in the meantime. You gotta watch with that frostbite. The next thing I know, I stand before the elevator door, rooted to the ground, with a sudden sensation of someone watching me. Look behind. Abruptly, I turn around, more panic exploding inside of me as the automatic lights pick that exact moment to cut out. My first instinct is to get off my phone, let it illuminate the sudden darkness of the corridor, and God knows what else is inhabiting it currently. There's nothing. Nothing that I'm able to see anyway. It's just the empty corridor, a row of closed doors along each side, seemingly the same as when I first entered it. There is nobody there. I don't feel any less on edge when I turn back to the other direction, bearing my back to all of that space again, pressing the elevator button as quickly as I can find it. A distant sound of machinery starting up pierces the unnerving silence, followed by a hum which indicates that the elevator is in motion. It's clearly on a different floor, so I wait for it to descend. Taking a deep breath, I try to calm myself. It feels like an eternity for the thing to arrive. The door finally slides apart with a slight scraping sound, and the small compartment finally opens up before me, completely empty. I'm not sure whether I should be surprised or not. A part of me hoped it would have to come to this. It wouldn't have to come to this, while another already expected for things to turn out this way. At this point, I decide to do the only sensible thing I can think of doing. Get into the elevator, ascend to the highest floor, then make my way down the stairs. All in the hope of stumbling upon Kirin, possibly hiding from me on one of the floors. If only things turn out that easy. Oh! I want more! I want to see what happens! This is an amazing demo! I want more! This project was made for the Winter Beyond Jam 2020 and this is only a demo. Be sure to follow us for the full release sometime in early 2021. Thank you for playing! I wanted a lot. I want the whole game. I want to see what happens. Amazing. Amazing game. Thank you for making it. I will look forward to the complete release. Well, that's all the time I have for today. Thank you everybody for watching. I hope you have a blast. I was the Lost Chevalier, signing out. Bye bye!